Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I'm Tank StarCraft here with the first installment of what I like to call mistakes with consequences. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some replay analysis. Going to do it with my own games. I know you guys would probably love to see, me looking at some actual professional play, but I always feel like an idiot being like, oh, he made this mistake, he could have won the game this way, when I'm talking about like life or something like that. So I feel more comfortable doing it with my own games. And it's at the level where I think you guys will make some of the same mistakes maybe in your own games and hopefully get some value out of this replay analysis. And my goal with looking at these replays isn't just to point out the mistakes and the consequences, like that's a big part of it, but also to look at ways that I could have won the game, to look at ways that if maybe that mistake didn't happen, kind of to envision the way that the game would have went if that mistake hadn't been made, and envision winning the game. And I think that's a really important part of replay analysis. I think people often forget it, is that they'll point out their own mistakes, they'll get a little self-deprecating and be like, I shouldn't have made that mistake, but then they won't kind of think of how the game would have went if that didn't happen. So that's what I'm going to try to do in this game. So this is going to be a Roach-Hydra-Viper game against a Terran player, a very aggressive Terran player named Coyote. And what I decided even going into this game was I was going to make it to Vipers no matter what. A lot of games, as you guys know, I'm quite aggressive, quite cheesy, quite counter-aggressive sometimes. But in this game, I decided no matter what, I'm going to make it to the Viper stage. And my opponent is going to be a little cheeky. He's going to go for this proxy Reaper play and get into my base really early with a Reaper. And lately, for some reason, I've lost a couple drones to this, and I really feel like with my build I shouldn't. So let's see why. So I get my pool on 14. I always do this. Very safe, especially against Reapers, though apparently I make a mistake in this game. And then I'm going to get my expansion shortly after. So still close to as economic as a hatch first, because I am going that gasless. There we go, the hatch on 16. Here comes his little SCV to do a little poke action. I remember this. And I'm thinking at this point, like, I don't even care that this SCV is here. As long as it doesn't kill a drone, I couldn't care less. I'm not even thinking that he's trying to soften me up for this Reaper. So in the future, I'm going to be a little bit more on these SCVs if they start attacking my workers. I don't want to lose HP. That extractor trick, by the way, is part of my build. It's not in response to this SCV or anything. I just do that to get that last drone out to get 16 drones in the main. Let's see the Overlord. Yeah, Queen's coming out. So here we go. He's going to come in with this Reaper. And if I were more on top of things, this Ling would be right here dealing with this as opposed to moving out. Right here helping out, and then I wouldn't lose these drones, these weakened drones too. So there one goes down. Oh my god. Maybe just one. But even so, this is too much damage for the build that I've gone. So I think in the future I need to be a little more careful with those Lings. Making sure they get right on that Reaper nice and early. Also, just given the timing of this Reaper, I know it's proxied. I know that he did not build it in his base and run it all the way across the map. So I know he's being a little bit more aggressive than usual. I'm building a couple extra Lings. And should be keeping that Queen production coming in the main. There we go. The Reaper comes up again. Ooh, two Reapers. Should be focus firing the low one if I can. I think this is a good kind of micro tactic. A lot of players will just keep shooting with the Queen out here. I think it's usually nice to pull back closer to where the new Lings are going to come out. Closer to where, if I need to, like this Queen's getting low, I can maybe pull some of the drones to help keep her alive. Stuff like that. So that's good. And overall, because of my very safe build, I'm feeling pretty happy with the way this game opened. Pretty even. Maybe could have saved that one drone. Maybe could stop losing all my Lings. Ooh, killed one of the Reapers. Now I'm really happy. He does have a third one coming, yes. And I'm just droning, building my additional Queens. Overlord. Maybe the Overlord's a little late, but it doesn't look like it's going to cut into my production too much. Maybe a little bit. Coming in again at the expansion. Luckily no workers there yet. Oh no, this Queen. What are you doing? That was really risky moving off creep with the low HP Queen. And I do lose it. But, that's okay. I kill all three of his Reapers in the end. Yeah, I lost a Queen. Maybe could have kept it alive. And I lost a drone, but for all intents and purposes, pretty okay with that opening. Could have went a little better, but not the end of the world. The big thing is I'm going to be able to spend all this money here on drones and power way ahead in the mid game. Right now we're even, but he is just now getting his expansion started, and I'm going to be mining my expansion like crazy. There we go, 2 overlords in the 32 to 34 stage. Pretty standard for macro play. A lot of players who are getting the 1 overlord at 32, stop it. Get 2. You will do better. These overlords could be rallied out on the map. Looking back at my opponent, he gets this, like, I'm actually looking at this thinking, why didn't I Baneling Bust? Because he has nothing. But he goes for the starport really early and gets a lot of Viking control. And I'm going to be thinking this game about how I can keep overlords in important spots despite that. But for the most part here, we're just droning. And these overlords should be getting a little more map vision up here and over here. But we're droning. We're getting close to that 2 base saturation point, which is awesome. That's around the point I'll be taking the lair. And about here, we'll be getting that lair. The next, maybe I'll go right up to 52. I don't know. But this is nice. If we look at the income, we've put a really substantial lead at this point in the game, which can be expected. So there we go. The double gas. Should be seeing the lair. Come on, get the lair. Why is it so late? Little late on the lair and Evo chamber. Would have liked to see those a bit earlier. Even the creep tumor a bit earlier so I can wall this a little better. But the big thing here is to power the drones, reach the full 2 base saturation with 4 gas. I like to have the 4 gas because I like to do a lot of teching with that gas. And I delay the 3rd base just a bit. Looks like this game I could actually get it pretty soon. But when these drones finish, we're going to be at that saturation point, which is 44 workers or more. And there we go, we hit the 44 point. And he's still at 26. So we're in great shape. This is a little unfortunate, a little annoying. But luckily this game I didn't spread out overlords like I usually do. Sometimes a mistake can be a blessing, I guess. But that's not the purpose of this tutorial. Getting the spore down at the front just because I don't know what he's doing. I know he has a starport, so why not? Doesn't cut into my 2 base saturation. Even getting a spore in the main. To be safe, he's going the Cloak Banshee route. And I'm going to get the speed roaches and take my 3rd very soon. Still ahead on the eco. Getting that +1, getting that overlord speed so that I can still spread out overlords in spite of this annoying Viking. Gotta wait for my roaches to get out before I can move down. This nice wall in is helping keep me safe. There we go. And yeah, I should be pulling that worker. Notice I over-drone the natural just a little bit. So that when I take a drone to take my 3rd or another Evo chamber or a Hydra Den or whatever, it doesn't cut into my 2 base saturation. See, there we go. Hydra Den, still over 16. Love it. Love it. Creep, naturally a bit delayed. Should be getting on that now that the roaches are out, though. Very important to get the creep going over this way. And honestly, it's pretty nice even coming up this way. Because what I'm going to be doing is I'm taking this as my 3rd. Obviously, Terran are going to probably pressure it with something. So it's nice to have creep at least to the 3rd. Ideally, even a little more this way to see stuff coming in. But the big thing, I think anyway, is the 4th is going to be here eventually. I like to take it here anyway, with the Roach-Hydra-Viper. I like to be nice and compact, right, between all these locations. So I'm going to take this base, and if I have creep up to here and up to here, then any way he's coming into that base, I see it. So it helps a lot. So that's what I should be thinking about with this queen, is getting the creep going, like probably 4 tumors. Keep them all going. Overlord's now spreading out just a little bit. I got the Overlord speed. I feel safer to do it. Still into roach production, and I don't like this, actually. This is, I think, a mistake in this game. Ideally, I want to be saturating this base by 11 minutes, my 3rd, with all the gases. And if I build too many roaches at this stage, I'm going to be a bit stuck. What I'd probably like to see is just like 4 hydras, maybe. So like 6 roaches, 4 hydras with this overseer, and then really power those drones for the 3rd. Lots of overlords. I do like that. Upgrades. Love it. Could be a little bow on top of that creep. Gonna get a nice surround here on the Hellion, so remember this. Yeah. So that goes well, obviously. Now, I should be thinking like drones, right, for my 3rd. It's almost halfway done. I don't mind the Hydras first because, actually, I'm actually very thankful I got the Hydras first because of this. These 2 Banshees with the cloak. But 10 Hydras, you know, I don't know about that. Maybe move this spore up here, or at least here. maybe build one spore at the natural just in case he swoops down through the bottom side. And then like 4 to 6 Hydras are going to be plenty for dealing with 2 Banshees. I don't need no 10 Hydras. So that's a mistake. This game, I can already tell I'm not going to be saturating my third as quick as I need to because I overproduce Roaches and overproduce Hydras with really no threat of a ground push coming anytime soon. If you look at Terran base, like, he's got 4 units, and he's just getting up to 3 factories, or 3 barracks, rather. So yeah, that's a big mistake in this game, is overproducing units in the mid-game. Gotta be saturating that base quicker. On the bright side, these Banshees are not going to kill this hatchery. That's the benefit of getting Hydras early. That's why I get the Hydras after the third base started. Is I think it makes dealing with this a lot easier. Also, some people might be thinking like, well, you could just deal with it with queens. I'm not the player that builds 4 to 6 queens. I'm the player that builds 3 and tries to maximize drone count. That's why I need the Hydra done a bit earlier. And the Hydra gets here. The 1 Hydra is apparently enough to push him away. Apparently I only needed 1 Hydra. I didn't need 10. I'm still building Hydras? What is wrong with me? Mistakes. Consequences. Not saturating this base quick enough. And if we look, what's the consequence of that? We're evening up in the income. Man, I was at 44 when he was at 26. And I haven't built a drone since then. So all this money that went into army is basically letting him catch up on his 2 bases. And now he's starting to get into the production a bit more. He's got his 3rd CC, and he's catching up a lot. And this is actually going to be really unfortunate that he comes in here. The positioning of this spore isn't terrible, but I would prefer it be here, or maybe even like here. Protecting the drones a bit more, and that's a mistake. That is going to have consequences. He's going to come in here. 1 kill. God. 2 kills. 3 kills. Come on, queens. Do your work. 4 kills. 5, 6, 7? 8 kills on those Banshees. Yeah, I kill 1, and the other one's pretty much useless because it's low and I have spores. I'm going to position stuff accordingly. But during that, I lost those 6 workers, so I actually probably, if we look at the income, go under him, at least until those drones came out, in worker count. And I think I even built some more Hydras or something there too. Silly. Silly. And like I said, remember, we want to be saturating this third with the gases by 11 minutes. It's natural that that be a little delayed given my opponent went Reapers and Banshees and stuff like that. But 13 minutes to still not be saturated there, that's problematic. Also, if I were more on top of my game, I'd be spewing creep here. Yeah, I know he has the Viking, but I got the Overlord speed. I can take any route I want on the map to get there. I could, you know, run it all the way up, well, maybe not the left side, but the right side and up to this third. So I should be delaying that third. Maybe it wouldn't have even worked anyway because it's got those Marines, but still a good thing to do. This game, getting that infestation pit up about the time I'm taking the gases at the base here. Could have even got that a little earlier given I had the gas. And once I hit this saturation point, that's when I'm also moving into Hydra upgrades. And as I get all the gases filled, I'll probably start moving into more production, more unit production. Lots of Terran pushes come in the mid-game. Like, theoretically, he doesn't have to take this third base, and he could go for this big, massive push, and I have to be standing with a pretty substantial army for that. So, a little bit better on the map vision anyway. Could maybe scout in here and just confirm the tech. There's the hive. I like it. There's the 2-2 all on the way. 4th base should be coming soon, and it should essentially just be production now that I've reached the plus 66 drone count, which is full 3 base saturation. So we're over 70. We're in great shape just to be producing Hydras mostly and teching towards the Vipers. So I know for sure that he's got this 3rd base solidified. I also know that he's gone kind of a bio-mech, like Marine Marauder tank, which is very Marauder heavy, I'm noticing. Yeah, he went 2 barracks with the tech lab, which is, in my opinion, Marauders are better than Marines against the style that I'm doing. There we go, tons of production. Just making a few drones to get the Evo chambers, 4th base, stuff like that. And as he's pushing out with this big force,